Hi everyone. Now, why did I make this? The TLDR is that it's for idiots like me and for any new streamers and any new players coming in. But it's a good reminder for veteran players as well, or maybe help them learn something new, because there are some things that aren't talked about at all by the game or by anyone really, not even in the wiki. So I hope this will be very helpful to you. The prerequisite is that you have completed Cantos 1 and 2, because that's when the tutorial finishes. At least the updated one, because the new one is really good in comparison to the old one. Really, the old one made me feel like a headless chicken when I was going through this. It's only because you guys backseated that I was able to get through it. But either way, since they don't really have like a reference book inside the game, I decided to make this, and thanks to my server members, I was able to build this with a lot of visuals, but also a lot of short explanations, because they were very patient with me when I asked them the simplest questions and got through it. So you can see how this can be really helpful. And I even embedded this, so it should be a lot easier for you guys to use this. And quite frankly, I really made this for myself. So you guys are just benefiting from it, technically. And it ended up evolving into something beyond what I had initially planned. It was supposed to be like a 3-page thing, literally. It ended up being 39 pages. And that's by reducing it so that it doesn't cover any like particular super niche, I guess, situations. Because I do have like a general reminders part for streamers right here, where streamers can print it out and then have it on their wall or something. And then on their phone or whatever device, they can look up the general emergency strategies so that they won't get backseated as much. Or, you know, when people are giving like really, I guess, different solutions, then this can help you decide which to go for. It literally tells you the steps to take so that you won't be bogged down by so much information that you really don't need when you're a streamer. I did explain like some things like why you do it this way, but for the most part, it's just like, do this, do that. When you're picking a situation that goes, oh, what do I do if this happens? It's just a lot easier for streamers to get through, and this will hopefully prevent less backseating from the audience and help new players, but also streamers to get through the game and understand what's going on. Because even if the tutorial is good now, it's hard to remember everything in the game if, you know, you're playing other games and it's not your main game. So I'm hoping that this reference book will be quite useful for everyone who is streaming or is covering the game or is playing the game for the first time. But again, this basically assumes that you finish the entire tutorial, which is Cantos 1 and 2. And I do have, let me scroll up. I have a newbie section too. It's like super short, but basically it talks about the things that a newbie should get done or focus on. Let me actually go to it. Right here, general newbies tip, I believe is up there. This table of content needs some work, but either way, it's right here. So it says like prioritize this and that, but I didn't make it super long because I know that can also make people feel overwhelmed, or at least I would feel overwhelmed. So I'm gonna assume anyone else would feel overwhelmed if they have like 50 things that they have to prioritize. So this is what I assume would be like the most important. And if you don't want to do dailies, then just do Mirror Dungeon once a week. I remember people always telling me that. I do it too now. Be proud of me. But in any case, I also, for the benefit of those going into this and using this reference book, I wrote down the cantos, like when this is relevant. Starting in Canto 6, this is relevant, starting in Canto 7, and you get the point. And then obviously that's also the same for the general emergency strategies. And I'm doing it this way because, yeah, it kind of feels like a spoiler maybe, but in all honesty, I feel like I should write it down like that because people will then get overwhelmed. And if they get overwhelmed, they're not gonna have fun. And if they're not having fun, what's gonna happen? They're gonna drop the game, or, you know, get really annoyed by people backseating because they don't understand what the heck's going on. So they end up dropping the game anyways. And I'm sure we want more content creators or streamers to enjoy the game without being bogged down by so much backseating, which is why I created this reference book. It's not a guide to every situation since it's disregarding all of the niche situations. Obviously, if there's like an effect or some kind of clause that makes the general situation no longer general, then that's not going to be covered in here. This is mainly just like general emergency strategies and quick reviews so that those of you who are starting the game can get an idea and understanding like this is the solution to go for ideally. And then if that's no longer the case, then you tweak from that and go from there. I even have like a why am I not able to win this fight checklist. So that one too is talking about like what Kanto is it relevant for and so on and so forth. So that way people don't have to like think every single thing is relevant right now when it's not, which would really suck. And then we have the top ego upgrade priorities, all thanks to my server members who gave me a list that this is the best ones to go for. I did give like a short, super short, I guess, description of the egos. I didn't put in any pictures for that because quite honestly, it's just gonna make this thing longer. And of course the credit section. Now, I will be continuing to update this whenever more intervalos and Kantos come out. And if you're interested in helping me, I guess, build this further by giving me more tips and explanations of new mechanics and so forth, then please join my server because that will be the easiest way for me to actually like get things done. But also it helps when you're saying it in the server because then I can discuss further and ask more questions that the rest of my server can also, I guess, answer and explain. And because I am not someone who games a lot of the things that I ask might seem simple, but for me, I have a hard time understanding certain mechanics because of it, which is why this thing is like even more simpler, which might be helpful to those who just can't stand being overwhelmed with so much information. But I made it as simple worded as possible with the least amount of information. So that means I'm not going to explain every single little thing, at least in the emergency strategy section. For the quick review section, I do explain things a lot more, but it's very, very simplified. So there might be like effects and things that make it a little bit more complex. But for the most part, this is basically a general reference guide. It should never be used as like, this is the Bible of like Limbus company strategies. No, it's not. This is not what it is. But if you do want me to create like a niche situation, I guess, then maybe I could think about making like a second reference book that covers all the niches. But I feel like that's gonna be really hard to like update as time goes by with the amount of IDs and egos that we, get. So I am gonna keep this one always simple. But if you are interested in me creating like a super niche one that covers specific situations, then I'll think about it. For now, I feel like this is what I actually needed when I was streaming, and there was nothing like this before me. I mean, we had ESCU videos that explain things, but you can't really turn on like a video while you're streaming. It doesn't work like that, It doesn't work like that at all. And then having to take notes on it and then refer to it all the time, it drives me nuts that I would have to do that just to understand how to play it. And like I said, I feel like I was a headless chicken going through everything up to Kanto 7. I don't even know how I reached that far. It's all thanks to you guys backseating me, actually. But if it wasn't for that, then I would die. And plus, if I cover all the niche stuff too, then what are you guys gonna be able to backseat at that point, right? I gotta give you guys something to backseat a message and, comment all that stuff, right? So that's why it's even more general than niche and covering everything, because that's gonna take forever. So for streamers, I recommend that you look through the quick review as a way to like remind yourself before every stream of what everything is. And then I do recommend that you print out, or at least have it somewhere, and print out this general reminders for streamers page, just as like a nice way, as like a super basic review, reminding yourself what to look at. Because when you're streaming for 8+ hours, it gets really tiring, especially if you're not taking any breaks, which I didn't because I was crazy. And then you can have like a phone or something device where you have the table of contents that's scrolled to the general emergency strategies, and then look for the situation that matches your situation the best, and then follow it step by step. Okay? Yeah, anyways, if you find this helpful, please let me know in the comments below of this video. And please, sleeper agents, spread it to all of the Limbus company streamers and new players. Please! Because maybe then they won't drop the game after Kanto 2. Maybe. We'll see. Or at least there might be less backseating at that point, right? I guess we'll see how this goes. I don't really know how to end this video, but I hope you guys enjoyed this. I made it for myself, but it better be helpful to you guys too. I mean, I guess it doesn't really matter if it's helpful to you guys. As long as it's helpful to me, that's all that matters, right? And thanks to my server members, I'm gonna be able to enjoy the Intervalos and Kanto 8. I'm gonna cry. It took 2 days to make this. Anyways, I'll see you guys later. Bye!